From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Help me God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Back in the White House, President Trump is entering his first full day back in the Oval Office. How Montanans are reflecting on this historic inauguration. And in Billings, armed robbery arrest. New details after two people tried to steal alcohol from a gas station and threatened to shoot the staff. Plus, showing the heart of a champion, the community's support of a carjacking survivor and his inspirational words. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Tuesday, January 21st. I'm Augusta McDonnell here with Miller Robson.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. It is It is thawing out ever so slightly. It's also slang.
It happens.
It is a word. Look it up.
It's all good. Add it to Google. There you go. Cool. All right. Well, you know, there is still some slick roads out there. It's still very cold. City slowly starting to come to life this morning. It's not as cold as it was yesterday. Let's take a look back in time. Our high yesterday only hit 8 degrees, well below the average of 36. Our wind chill was clocked at about 30 below yesterday. That was our coldest here in Billings at the airport. 9 below our actual temperature when we got up yesterday. So we're not seeing that this morning, but it's still very cold out there. Top gust yesterday at 44 miles an hour. We could still have gusts over 30 miles an hour here in Billings and a lot of the area 20 to 30 as we go along today. But the western foothills, we've seen gusts over 70 miles an hour already this morning here in Billings, or over in Livingston, sorry. Here in Billings this morning, we have seen a little bit of snow. You see for the moisture totals for the month and for the year, still pacing ahead. Also for the snow total for the month. And we do have a couple of rounds of snow heading our way, maybe making a bit of a dent in that deficit that we see for the season. But there are your wind chills right now. A lot of us still below zero with the feels like temperatures out there, and it's windy. There's that. Well, it's up to 75 miles an hour now with that gust there in Livingston. Yeah, so very strong. Watch out for the possibility of blowing snow, some icy roads. If you drive a high-profile vehicle, maybe delay travel or find another way around. So we got that going on. Also, winter weather advisories kicking in. We'll tell you where coming up here in just a bit.
All right, Miller, lots going on in weather this morning. Much to come on that. And in politics this morning, of course, President Donald Trump starting his first day back in office. There's already fallout after Trump signed a flurry of executive actions on issues like immigration, federal workers, and energy on his first day back in office yesterday. It was a busy day for Trump, who took the oath of office inside the Capitol before attending a whirlwind of inaugural events. CBS's Jared Hill has more from Washington.
So help me God.
And with that, President Donald J. Trump began his second term. In his speech, he vowed to rescue a nation that he described as in decline.
The golden age of America begins right now.
In the midst of the inaugural parade, moved inside a D.C. arena due to frigid temps, and inaugural balls, where he danced with First Lady Melania Trump. The president signed roughly 200 executive orders, rolling back dozens of Biden-era policies in the process, including pulling the U.S. again out of the Paris Climate Agreement. President Trump also offered clemency to all of the nearly 1,500 people charged or convicted in relation to storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6th.
We're going to release our great hostages.
Their supporters demonstrated outside a D.C. jail last night. President Trump is already facing legal challenges over his executive action creating the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, and another that attempts to end birthright citizenship, which is enshrined in the Constitution. Trump also signed an order declaring a national emergency on the southern border and others targeting immigration. Nationwide, cities are already bracing for mass deportations.
People are afraid. People don't want to leave their homes. People don't want to send their kids to school.
Meanwhile, the Senate yesterday approved its first of Trump's cabinet picks, former Florida Senator Marco Rubio, now to be Secretary of State. Jared Hill, CBS News, Washington.
Other executive orders signed by President Trump yesterday include hiring freezes and return to office mandates for federal workers, as well as a delay on implementation of a law effectively banning TikTok if it doesn't separate from its Chinese-based owner. That delay in the ban lasts 75 days. And as we've reported, President Trump also granted clemency to roughly 1,500 people who are facing charges or were convicted of crimes connected to the riot at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th of 2021. The executive order impacts 9 individuals with direct Montana ties. Stuart Rhodes, founder of the Oath Keepers, had his 18-year seditious conspiracy prison sentence commuted. Rhodes practiced law while living in Montana, but was disbarred. 7 Montanans were pardoned, including Joshua and Jared Hughes of East Helena and Isaac Sturgeon and Hank Munzer of Dillon. Former Helena area rural fire chief Frank Dahlquist, who's accused of pepper spraying police that day, was still awaiting trial. Trump instructed the U.S. Attorney General to dismiss all pending cases. And former President Joe Biden departed the Capitol after the peaceful transfer of power, but not without making a couple final hour moves. Biden granted a wave of preemptive pardons, including former Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney. Cheney was a member of the bipartisan House committee that investigated the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol by a mob of Trump supporters. Trump has formally said on social media that Cheney should be prosecuted for what she's done to our country. In granting the pardon, Biden said, quote, "I believe in the rule of law, but these are exceptional circumstances, and I cannot, in good conscience, do nothing." The president also pardoned 5 family members, along with General Mark Milley and Dr. Anthony Fauci. Both of Wyoming's senators speaking out against the move, with Republican Cynthia Lummis saying, quote, "It's a fitting end to this lawless administration that Biden would preemptively pardon people like Liz Cheney and tacitly acknowledge their guilt." And meanwhile, Senator John Barrasso says, quote, Joe Biden spent his last night in the White House handing out get-out-of-jail-free cards to those who did his political bidding. Montana's political delegation also attended those events in Washington, D.C., including newly elected Representative Troy Downing. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian caught up with him after the inauguration ceremony to hear what the day means to him.
President Donald Trump's second inauguration is a major transition for the federal government, a milestone that Montana's representatives in Congress say is exciting for them.
I don't care where you are on the political spectrum, but the transition of power and having a vice president and a president sworn into office and swearing their oath to the Constitution, and there's something just very powerful about that, and it kind of gets you in the chest.
Congressman Troy Downing is 2 weeks into his first term holding Montana's eastern U.S. House seat. He joined other House Republicans walking over from their chamber to the Capitol Rotunda for the ceremony. It was his first time attending a presidential inauguration. Leaders moved the inauguration indoors, citing concerns about cold weather.
We had a lot of friends and family and supporters from Montana out here, and some of them obviously couldn't participate as we expected them to. I'll tell you one thing that does make me smile is it shows you how much support there is for President Trump, how much support there is to see him sworn in, because we're seeing folks from all over the country.
Senator Steve Daines' office says they hosted about 100 Montanans to watch the ceremony from the Hart Senate office building. Daines called it, quote, "a new day for America" in a statement. Senator Tim Sheehy said, quote, "America is back" on social media, and Congressman Ryan Zinke predicted, quote, "peace and prosperity" in a post online. The members of Montana's congressional delegation have been participating in receptions over the weekend. Governor Greg Gianforte also traveled to Washington, D.C. to attend the inauguration. Downing says the calendar of social events has been exhausting.
Today we've got a couple of more events to celebrate this changing of the guard, this transition of power, and tomorrow we get to work.
Montana's congressional delegation are now all of the same party and all aligned with the president for the first time since the 1940s. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Jonathan, thank you. And in state news this morning, the warden at the Montana State Prison was placed on leave, according to the Montana Department of Corrections. The department's communications director confirmed that Warden Jim Salmonson is on leave, but declined to give a reason. Associate Warden Scott McNeil is now the acting warden at the prison. Salmonson, who is a Butte native, started working for the prison in 1989 and was named warden in 2020. The Department of Corrections says no other information will be released. And in Billings this morning, 2 people are behind bars after an early morning armed robbery. Investigators say the crime happened at the Circle K that's located on the 700 block of Grand Avenue. 20-year-old Tyson Grable and a 17-year-old male from Billings are both facing charges of robbery and criminal endangerment. It happened around 4:30 Monday morning. 2 people, 1 man and 1 male juvenile, began picking up cases of Buzzballs alcohol. When confronted by an employee, the adult man began threatening to shoot and kill staff. The pair then exited the business with 3 cases and got into a vehicle, then tried to get the driver to run over one of the employees. When the driver refused, Billings police say the two got out of the vehicle and ran away on foot. A gun was fired 3 to 4 times, but it's unknown where the gun was pointed. No one was injured in the shooting. The 2 suspects, Grable and the 17-year-old boy, were found on Alderson Avenue. And over the weekend, Montana has a way of coming together when one of our own faces difficult circumstances. And that was the case this weekend as a Billings fight night truly helped show the heart of a champion. In November of 2023, Brasser McCabe was shot in a carjacking. That shooting left him paralyzed and in a wheelchair. For the first time, our Alec Boffinger hears from McCabe as he reflects on that fateful night and what Saturday night's event meant to him.
November 11th, 2023, Brasser McCabe's life was flipped upside down.
Pretty much remember everything about that night.
At about 9:30 p.m., Brasser went out to confront a pair of individuals attempting to break into vehicles outside his home in Lockwood. One suspect fled on foot and another by vehicle, which Brasser was able to track down. Though he had his gun on him, Brasser didn't have it out when he approached the vehicle after noticing the occupant looked like a teenager.
And when I was talking to him, he just pointed the gun at me out the window and started shooting. So first shot hit my spine, took out my legs, and I started falling to the ground. As I was falling, he kept shooting, got me 2 more times up in the chest and the arm as I fell to the ground, and he took off and fled the scene.
The 18-year-old shooter has been charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. Brasser is now bound to a wheelchair and has had to make some serious tweaks to his house and his daily routine. But he's an extremely positive individual, and he hasn't lost sight of that during this trying time.
There's a lot more to getting dressed. It takes a lot longer to get ready in the mornings to go do your normal day-to-day activities. I mean, the renovations we had to do to my bathroom and my living room with wider doors, a bigger shower for being able to go in there and take showers and all that. Remodeling my kitchen to be able to make it more accessible for me to where I can actually access stuff by myself and not have to have help to do it. This winter's been hard because it's definitely hit me that I can't go do what I love to do anymore. Snowmobiling was kind of my release from everything. I loved going out and go snowmobiling.
Medical bills, home improvement, it all costs money. Brasser is no longer able to work as a diesel mechanic, though he has begun working on smaller engines as he's able. To help offset some of these monumental costs, the Fusion Fight League held its Fight for a Cause and Brasser's benefit on Saturday night at the Metra, raising well over $10,000.
I was nervous about the whole thing just because I've never been someone that likes the center of attention. I've never asked for help. I've always found my own way to get stuff done. It's very exciting that I was able to get this opportunity for the help to help me try to keep living and figure stuff out.
I hope that we're able to, ease some of his financial burden and also raise awareness that it can be dangerous out there and to take precaution.
Now, Brasser isn't sure whether he'll get function back in his legs or not, but he's certainly shown his will to live and is a beacon of persistence in the community, one that came together to show Brasser that no one fights alone.